Good morning, students. Myself Dr. Anuradha. Working as an assistant professor in St. Joseph Degree and PG College. And today's topic is, as I'm teaching media laws and ethics, today's topics it is indecent representation of women, and one more would be Copyright Act. So to start with, it is indecent representation of women. That's a Prohibition Act 1986. So the very objective of this indecent representation of women is how a woman is being commoditized in commercials and the skin show that is gone into the movies and all. So there is an act which says that women should not be portrayed in such a manner. There's an objectionable manner which we always speak about, the legalities, how far it is allowed, why it is allowed. And as part of advertisements, many advertisements we must have seen like Wildstone or Axe perfume ads where women will be coming and falling on a chocolate boy. This ad was challenged in court. And this ad has to be suspended. Similar to that, many such advertisements where there was an objectionable way of portraying women in movies and serials or advertisements has been challenged in court of law. So to start with, the very objective of this act aims to prevent the indecent representation of women through advertisement, publications and other media. The purpose of this is to protect the women from exploitation and degradation in media and public content. So before jumping on to it, we need to know the background of it also. Growing concerns in 1980s, with the rise of media advertisements and films, there was an increase in the objection and sexualization of women. So in response to public outcry and activism, the Indian government enacted this law to curb indecent and vulgar portrayal of women. So to put in short, this background of indecent representation of women. So the key provisions of this act, section 2, which says that any visual or verbal portrayal of women that has the potential to degrade, dehuman or exploit their dignity, includes content in ads, films, publications. Okay, then section 3 of indecent representation of women says that prohibition of indecent representation, the publication, display or broadcast of indecent representation of women in any form of media. Then section 4 says punishment for offenders. So there is an imprisonment, or the offender may be sentenced to imprison for up to 2 years or with a fine up to 2,000, or in some cases it will be both, the fine and the imprisonment. Then if the offender is doing this offense repeatedly, for second or subsequent offenses, imprisonment may even extend for up to 5 years also. The scope and application of this Indecent Representation of Women Act in print media, broadcast media and electronic media. Print media, we generally speak about newspapers, magazines and advertisements that are printed as part of commercials that we get to see on a daily basis in a vernacular press or on national publications, magazines. Then we have broadcast media, that is television, radio and cinema. Then we have electronic media, which speaks about the websites, social media or the new media which we coined that. The focus is to eliminate the degrading content that exploits women's body image, reduces them to objects of sexual desire or uses them to sell products. Offenses under the act. Obscene advertising. The good example to fit in here is advertisements that features women in sexually suggestive poses to sell products unrelated to their image. So there are plenty of case studies available on this, how women is being used to sell for the houseries related to men. Also women plays a role, she will be made to enact in such kind of commercials we get to see. The next is sexualization of women in media. So portraying women in stereotypical, degrading or submissive roles, especially in films or music videos. Then we have publications and distribution of indecent content. The good example fitting here is the publications or websites showing nudity or content that dehumanizes the women. So all these are the offenses that we get to see. But still, though we speak about obscene advertising, all these things we get to see. In spite of this act, being there. Legally we can complain against, but still we get to see lot of advertisement, films and commercials portraying women as a sexually abusing manner. Then the recent amendments to this act is 2018, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting revised guidelines to include stricter measures on internet based platforms like social media and streaming services, encouraged platforms to take down objectionable content related to indecent representation. Then the emerging threats are the rise of social media has introduced new challenges in monitoring and regulating the indecent content. Then we have indecent representation as a social evil. The courts have emphasized the need for regulation to maintain the dignity of women. So the good example could be like in Bolo versus State of Maharashtra. The court held that obscene representation of women violated the basic principles of gender equality and dignity under the constitution. Freedom of speech versus protection of women's right. The court balances the right to free expression and protection of women's dignity. The example is K.A. Abbas versus Union of India 1970. The Supreme Court upheld restrictions on obscene content and films, reasoning that public morality must be protected. So a lot of things, like as I was quoting, the Wildstone advertisement, it has a huge outcry with the the social activists fighting for women rights and all. They made a complaint, they filed a case in court about a wedding, newly wedded bride giving up her wedding just because the other fellow was having this Wildstone perfume. We get to see a lot of commercials on those lines. And the regional example could be Malabar or Kalyan Jewellers, where a bridegroom will be there as part of marriage season. All the proposal will be there, but the same bride is not accepted with the jewellery. The same bride, when she puts on a particular brand of jewellery, she will be accepted. So you should not put down the status of women to that level. So there was also a complaint lodged on such commercials. Similar to that, many advertisements are there, plenty of case studies are there where the portrayal of women is in a mostly unobjectionable, like case studies. Shahina KK and Union of India, that is 2020. The issue was a viral advertisement for a clothing brand showed a woman in an objectified pose, leading to public outrage. The Ministry of, so what was the outcome of that case is the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting issued a notice under the Indecent Representation Act, leading to the withdrawal of the ad and a fine imposed on the brand. The case 2 is RK Anand versus Union of India 2009. The issue was popular television show depicted women in a degrading manner, reinforcing stereotypes. So the outcome of this case was the court directed the show's producer to revise the content and adhere to the provisions of the act, warning of legal consequences for future violations. The case, third case is all about Kumar versus Internet Media Companies, that is 2015. The issue was online platforms were hosting content, that is videos and images, that sexually objectified women. So the outcome of this case was the court ordered that social media platforms must remove such content and comply with the guidelines set by the Indecent Representation Act. Challenges in implementation of this Indecent Representation of Women's Act. Enforcement in digital media. So there are a lot of content on social media we get to see where women portrayed in a objectionable manner. But the social media is out of the reach. So anybody from any corner can post anything. So to have monitoring on that, to put a check on this is a big challenge. So the rise of social media platforms and user generated content presents challenges in controlling indecent content. Regulatory measures need to evolve to keep a pace with the technology. So wherever the amendments have to be done to this act, where social media can also be bring under this indecent representation of women, should be adding the social media content also. Cultural sensitivity. Diverse cultural perceptions of what constitutes indecent representation can lead to confusion and disputes in legal judgments. Public awareness. So these are the 3 challenges. The need for increasing public awareness regarding the importance of act and women's rights. So to put in short, these are the major challenges that we get to see in the implementation of this Indecent Representation of Women's Act. Then we have a role of media in empowering the women, positive representation, promoting women's rights, gender equality and dignity in advertisement, films and media. Educational campaigns. Media campaigns should educate the public on adverse effects of objectifying women and support the principles outlined in the Indecent Representation Act. So to conclude, protection of women's dignity. Of course, this is the major concern. The Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act of 1986 plays a crucial role in safeguarding women's dignity in media. Need for awareness and enforcement. It is essential to continuously educate the public and media industries about the importance of compliance with the Act. Adapting to changing media. As media evolves, there is a growing need for law to adapt and address new challenges posed by the digital age, that is social media. Sir, pause, sir. Shall I continue?
Yeah.
So the next topic as part of lecture is Copyright Act of 1957. So we get to see a lot of books, even in a small product that we buy from the market, it has a C symbol, right, which says that it has some copyright and nobody can duplicate that. Okay, we get to see more like what are the legalities of it, why this copyright has come into the picture. So the basic introduction goes thus: the definition of copyright is legal protection granted to create of original works, including literacy, dramatic, musical and artistic pieces, as well as cinematograph films and sound recordings. Then the purpose of this act is encourages creativity by ensuring creators can control and benefit from their work. Scope of Copyright Act of 1957, protected works. We have original literary works, that is books authored or the content developed by a person, they can own a copyright. Dramatic, somebody copying. There are plenty of movies, there's a depiction of a novel or a fiction. Before you depict this as part of making a movie, you need to be looking into the legalities of it. You have to take the concerned person's approval to adapt that fiction to make into a movie. Then we have music, even jingles. Each ad or each movie, each music director, plenty of them, they own copyright on their lyrics, the music they compose, the jingles, the signature tunes. This cannot be copied because they are owned by, they are the creative thing of one intellectual works. Then we have artistic works like many paintings that we get to see. Cinematograph films and sound recordings. Rights conferred, economic rights, reproduction, distribution, public performance and adaptation. Then the moral rights, right to claim authorship and protect the integrity of the work. So why this Copyright Act? When I am contributing something as part of writing a book or producing a music or writing a lyrics, I own the copyright. It is my intellectual creativity that I have given the output, and I own the copyright. If somebody tries to adopt my work or duplicate my work, or somebody has been without my knowledge using my work for some other purpose, especially the commercial things, we have to be very, very careful about the legalities that we need to keep in mind. Key features of this act. Duration of Copyright Act. Typically the lifetime of the author plus 60 years. Fair use provisions, allowances for criticism, review, reporting, teaching and research. Infringement and remedies, civil remedies. So what are the remedies? Infringements and remedies are injunction, damages and accounts of profits. Criminal remedies are fines and imprisonment. Importance of copyright protection. Economic incentives. Ensures creators receive financial rewards, fostering further innovation. So, just now I was quoting an example of, many movies are made on a depiction of a novel or a fiction. So, when you are making a movie, you have to give them some, honorarium, some amount to them, financially, You have to get their approval for adapting their work, their original work. Cultural development preserves cultural heritage by protecting traditional and contemporary works. Legal recognition establishes clear ownership, reducing disputes and unauthorized use. Amendments and modern relevance. Notable amendments are 2012 amendments is all about aligned the act with WIPO treaties addressing digital and internet related challenges. So when we speak about the copyright issues, we get to see social media, plenty of things coming up. If you are a podcaster also, even if you are an influencer on social media, before you speak about a secondary source that you have visited, you have to give the credits to that particular person. So social media has also to be brought under this act was a proposal. Then we have contemporary issues is artificial intelligence. So ChatGPT and all, it has a habit of spending the things wherever the notes is available, it will spend and give you a data. Artificial intelligence. Legal challenges concerning AI's use of copyrighted material for training models. The case studies, AI and copyright infringement, recent developments, lawsuits filed against AI companies for unauthorized use of copyrighted content. The implications of this are balancing technological advancement with intellectual property right. And then we have the summary. The Copyright Act 1957 plays a vital role in protecting creators' rights, promoting creativity and adapting to emerging challenges in digital age. So to conclude, indecent representation is a very important act. Each woman activist, there are plenty of things happening on this. Where a woman is being commoditized in many of the films, or a lot of skin show that happens on the films or in serials, the negative portrayal of women. Even this is also the latest development that plenty of volunteers speaking about it. So indecent representation of women and the Copyright Act are very, very important as part of media laws and ethics. Thank you.